in 2010, and everybody else is bound by that. So there's a lot into the personal responsibility, even for protesters, the responsibility by the institutions, which are, of course, under the government, and we need to strike a balance in between that. Of course, we didn't get much detail into what is happening, or could they be holding another kind of talks, maybe with a few, or trying to hold. Previously, we saw that the president engaged in in X space to listen to the views of these Gen Zs, but this time around we are not seeing much of that. So so one of the key questions would be how do we now strike a balance into this? How can we have that collaborative conversation? All the same, the rule of the law takes precedence, and there's also a thin line between legality and ethical. So sometimes you could be legally right, but not ethically right. And trying to balance that line, which is usually a very thin line, you did need to engage with these young people and try to understand, other than the concerns which were raised in last year, do you have different concerns? How far have we gone addressing these issues? Can we tick boxes, say we address this, now this is what is left? Why did we abandon the conversation we used to have on X? Were they not adding value? And are there other places that, not only the top leadership, even other institutions, are there other avenues they can meet and ensure we're having these conversations and having real issues being discussed? As Mokua mentioned that it was a day to commemorate what happened, the question is, what if maybe there was no hindrance for the Gen Zs walking down, even though there are other communications or posts which seemed quite digressive, whereby they are talking about invading some protected areas, And is that the real wish of all the Gen Zs? Is that the real, is that the matter at hand, or what they really wanted, or they just wanted to air their views, commemorate their fallen heroes, and maybe when it gets later in the evening, go back? So, to me, I feel that there still need to continue having conversation with the young members of the nation, because at the end of the day, we are all Kenyans, and I believe nobody wishes to leave this country. We are here to, to grow it and see growth of the country. So more conversation needs to come. A lot of deliberate structures need to be put in place, whereby people can really voice the information. The government and other institutions can be able to really segregate these deep fakes which are being created and get the real concern of the young members of the society.
All right. Dismas, you've heard the former Prime Minister, you've heard the President. What is your take? Do you think they get it? Do you think their comments will land properly?
Well, if Kenyans remove their biases, President Ruto and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga have made very heavy points that deserve good consideration. Because essentially what they're talking about is the rule of law and order. That you've got your rights to demonstrate, but in so doing, do not harm life and do not harm property. I mean, today we've seen some pictures about some demonstrators beating up a law enforcement officer, a female law enforcement officer. That is unacceptable. If you want to build a democracy and you want to live in a civilized society, when you're doing your demonstrations, beating up law enforcement officers is a no-go area. You cannot beat up a law enforcement officer. You go to the streets, make your demonstration, present your petitions, your voice will be heard, and go back home. I mean, a number of people today are crying that their motor vehicles have been up in flames. Right. Some people who run businesses, they have been broken into. So while you are demonstrating, you need to be alive that there are other people who probably don't want to demonstrate. They've got a divergent opinion. They've opened their shops. They want to earn a living. There's a law enforcement officer whose responsibility is to enforce the law. Don't beat up that person. But you see, because now we live in this world where there are biases, there are people who will not pay attention to what President Ruto has said and what Mr. Raila Odinga has said because of their inherent biases. But early on, you raised a fundamental question, and I fear that you are running away from it. It's about lessons learned. Right. You remember during the Gen Z demonstration last year, the demonstrations instilled discipline within the public service. And you recall for the first time, after a long while,
yes,
public servants of rank were actually obeying traffic rules.
yes,
They were driving in a manner respecting
orderly,
everybody.
right.
They forgot about this ridiculous opulence of wealth. I mean, there was a lot of humility. And then at that stage, public participation was not just ceremonial. But 1 year later, we've gone to massive or industrial scale display of opulence. Industrial scale display of opulence, as captured in this so-called empowerment program. You go to a village in the middle of a forest, you're going to donate 5 million, and nobody tells us the source of this 5 million, but you land there in 10 choppers. 10 choppers. In those, I don't know, they're called